Fake smile? Welcome to the Levels of Lifting podcast. I'm your host, Lawrence, here to remind you that there's levels to this. I'm here with Coach Jen again. This time it's a one-on-one on the couch, LVB.
I like the setup.
This is not bad. This is not bad. You know, if things get heated up, then we got the fire extinguisher back there. I put it in the wrong spot. It's over there.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, you guys already, maybe you haven't seen the last episode with Coach Jen, lead coach of Las Vegas Barbell, and we're just going to go with it. What's up?
Well, the last podcast I saw you, I was getting ready for Masters Nationals, and now we have completed Masters Nationals, and we're back in the gym. So, Masters Nationals was this past weekend in Reno. We had a team of, I think, 22 people.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. And a lot of medals. Some Masters American records were set.
That's crazy.
And everyone did a great job. It was awesome. It was a really fun weekend and fun coaching, fun lifting.
Let's talk about the good, bad, and the ugly.
Sure.
Any ugly that happened over the weekend?
Not really.
Everyone did really good.
Everyone posted a total. I mean, that's amazing. The fact that everyone posted a total, no one bombed out.
Well, how about you guys on the coaching side?
Sure.
I'm sure there was only 2 platforms.
That's right.
Oh, so that made it a lot easier. How about the back warm-up setup? How was that?
Really nice, actually. It was really well organized. It was nicely spread out. There was enough space. And even though we had a couple of situations where we had some athletes competing at the same time.
Yeah.
So we actually it was set up well enough that we could have athletes on the same platform, even though they were competing on opposite stages.
Yeah, there was a couple athletes that were going at the same time.
Right, yeah,
Cindy,
exactly.
Janessa, Jay, and Vanessa.
Yes, that's right.
I remember that.
Yeah, so it actually worked out really well. In those instances, we were able to have those athletes warming up on the same platform, even though they were competing on different stages. So all of that went really well. On the coaching front, super smooth. And I feel for myself that I had the opportunity to build more of my coaching ability.
Yeah.
I was able to make decisions, or I was forced to be put in positions where I had to make decisions that would either win or not win medals. Right. And so it was cool to have that experience, because up till now, I've gotten more comfortable with counting in the back and, getting our athletes properly warmed up. But to get onto the competitive side of things and actually have to look at the board and see how things change and have to make decisions about knowing my athlete, whether or not they can make this lift and how that all plays into whether or not someone wins a medal. It was cool.
Right. There's a big difference in coaching an athlete that's there on their first meet,
Right.
no pressure, just make some lifts, versus an athlete that, oh shoot, there's an opportunity for me to medal.
Yeah.
Now there's pressure on the coach because I'm going to put all my faith into you.
Right.
And I have to, as the athlete, I have to be like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
Well, really, there should be no stress on the athlete. They should
Right.
just, everything that they did in the prior cycle, just trust in the training, and the coach will do the rest.
Yeah, and trust the coach also, to have that relationship with your coach where you can trust the decisions they make.
Right.
Even if you as the athlete don't understand why they're doing it in the moment, to have faith that they're going to make the decision that's in your best interest.
Right.
And for folks that don't know about the actual structure of a weightlifting meet, I mean, there's obviously the component of the lifter having to make the lift, having to actually have the technique and the strength to make the lift, but there's this whole other world of coaching that's involved in the sport that really, like I said, that creates the competitive environment where coaches have to make decisions that may or may not result in placing or medals. Yeah. So it definitely was some pressure for me, but I
think you did. I mean, a lot of people medaled.
Yes, yeah.
So
exactly.
Obviously no one bombed out.
Yeah, and everyone that I coached that had the opportunity for medals, they did great. They did their job of putting the weight over their heads, you know, so...
How about athletes? Was there an athlete close to bombing out? Maybe they only made one lift in either the snatch or the clean jerk.
Not that I was coaching directly. I know we had one athlete that was close on the snatch.
Can we talk about that at all?
I don't know if Flo wants me to call her out.
Flo? No, she did great, didn't she?
She did, yes. But she missed her first 2 snatches.
Oh.
And so on the last one, I only know this because I was watching the live stream.
Yeah.
It was an early session, so I was back in our hotel room. But I watched her session from the live stream, and she missed her first 2 snatches. So I was a little bit stressed out on her last snatch because she's such a solid clean and jerker that I was like, if we can just, like get something on the snatch, she'll kill it on the clean and jerk, which ended up happening. She got gold in the clean and jerk.
That's insane.
So that was a little nerve-wracking, but in terms of
that's the closest one, huh?
Yeah, I think
to someone like not getting a total.
Yeah. Everyone.
Flo, you're a beast.
That's right.
You did great.
Yeah, you're a beast.
Let's talk about... there's so much we could talk about, actually, now that we're getting into it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about athletes that go solo to meets.
Sure.
Why is it important that someone, especially if you're in Las Vegas, why should you come to Las Vegas Barbell? And let's talk about the difference between coaching yourself at a meet versus having you or Coach Billy there for you.
I mean, I think I've only ever coached myself at a meet a small handful of times. So you might be able to speak better to that and kind of what your thought process is going through that. But I think the benefit to having a coach there, first of all, is just to have someone load your bar for you.
That's a big deal.
That's a big deal in the back, warming up or loading your warm-up bar so that you don't have to do the extra work of switching plates in and out.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's talk about an athlete that's going to competition by themselves, self-coaching, list of things that they have to do.
Sure.
If you were to go to a competition by yourself, these are the things you have to do.
They have to make sure that they're at their weigh in, which you have to do that.
That's a big one.
Yeah, even if you do have a coach, you have to make sure that you show up to your weigh-in. But counting out attempts, so taking a look at the board, knowing how many attempts out they need in order to warm up, knowing their warm-ups, loading their warm-up bar or loading the bar in the back room, and then also having to sign off on any weight changes. So you have to know the rules, like
you have to play the game with the other coaches.
You have to play the game, that's right. And so you have to be able to respond to the board and also kind of keep your head in the game in terms of being able to lift the weight also. So it's not impossible. I saw plenty of athletes coaching themselves this weekend. You've done it yourself. Have you done it at a national meet before?
I have, yeah.
You have?
Yeah, depending on the location of each area. So the judges might be in what do you call where you
Marshall's table.
The Marshall's table where you select your attempts. That might be in an area. And then your platform where you're warming up might be in a farther area. And then you might have to run to the platform when you actually hear your name. And you just have to be aware of all these things. And then if someone changes their attempts, like another coach changes their attempts, and with the goal of burning your clock to give you less time, you don't really know that because you are focused on so many things.
Yeah.
So there's a big struggle. So if I were to do it over again, and this is a message to all new lifters if you're watching this, especially if you're in Las Vegas, come to Las Vegas Barbell, because that's a big deal, especially if you're trying to medal.
Yeah.
There's a lot on the line because we only have 6 lifts.
Yeah.
I mean, how much time do you actually have on the platform?
Oh, less than 6 minutes, because how long does
Definitely less than 6 minutes.
How long
are we actually training these lifts?
Right, yeah. A long time.
We could be training, some people train a whole year for one meet.
Yeah.
And then you're going to risk it for... It doesn't make sense to me.
It's definitely, you can teach someone, or you can have a friend that also lifts that could count your attempts for you. But when you get to the competitive level where those decisions actually make a difference, and there are games that coaches will play,
definitely, especially if you're trying to medal,
make your opponent have a disadvantage. There's definitely games and strategies there that I think not a lot of people who don't know the sport don't realize. Is there's a lot of game playing there that if you don't have an experienced coach, you could completely miss out on. So that's the benefit. I mean, Billy's been doing this a long time. Coach Billy, he's been doing it a long time. So and the way he sees the board, it's like almost, I mean, it's really awesome to watch, because he just puts all the pieces together and he sees all the potential situations that his athlete might be in, and he's ready for all of those. And that's the thing, is you can learn to count And if you were doing just a local meet or just sort of like a low tier national meet or something where you're just trying to make a total, absolutely you can have someone count for you or you could count for yourself.
Yeah.
But once you get to a place where you want to win medals, and there are other experienced coaches there, I mean,
you're going to be at a disadvantage.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And I think what's cool too is when it comes to the back room, especially for us, we have a team environment where we have lots of athletes that are training with each other and supporting each other. So the cool thing was at Masters Nationals was, as a coach, I didn't have to load the bar because
That's awesome.
I had so many people, so many teammates in the back who are ready to help and like loading bars. And what was really cool to watch was like seeing everyone keep each other relaxed and focused, and like because everyone knows everyone's personalities and they know kind of what they need in that scenario. Like, do we need like a pep talk? Do we need snacks? Like, can I get you snacks? Can I get your water? You know, like we have so many of the teammates who are ready to do that for each other that it made my job as a coach a lot easier because I was like, cool, they've got all the logistics. Yeah, exactly. Figured out. So
it sounds like you're talking about the atmosphere of competition.
Yes.
And let me tell you, just from watching the live stream, Masters competitions are so much cooler than just senior competitions.
You think so?
There was an announcer that was yelling out people's names on the podium.
Yeah.
Like it was a boxing match. And
that's right.
I was hearing music while people were lifting. It seemed like everyone was supportive. I mean, how was the competitive environment in the back room?
Awesome. I mean, that's what's cool about Masters Nationals. It's like, everyone is aged over 35.
Yeah.
So we all know, for the most part, I mean, there are some beast athletes there that are lifting at, international levels, for sure.
Like Billy, trying to get records?
Like Billy, yeah, right. Well, and Laura Alexander was in my session from Catalyst.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's competed internationally. Obviously, there's people there who are at that level, but for the most part, everyone who's there lifting and competing it's recreational.
Right.
We're doing this because it's fun and we enjoy it. We love pushing ourselves and like testing the limits of what we're capable of. And so when you know that as a weightlifter, when you know what you go through in order to try and be better and get stronger, then you can appreciate that in everyone else that's there also, because you know how hard they work to get there. So it's a really supportive environment. Everyone's just cheering each other on, and even if it does get competitive, it's all
Have you ever
fun.
clashed with any other coaches in the back room?
No, never. I mean, what's cool about especially if you're a newer coach, and if you were in a competitive environment, you might not have as friendly like rapport because people are trying to win medals for their athletes,
right.
But if you're a newer coach with coaches in the back that are more experienced, they're totally willing to help you out. They're totally willing to give you advice.
Yeah.
They're totally willing to, just support you because they know how challenging it is to coach folks and to make those decisions. And they also want the continuation of the sport. If we teach other coaches to be, there competitively, to be able to work on that level competitively, then that's just going to continue to grow the sport, is to have talented athletes and also to have coaches that can support the sport by making decisions, in competition.
Right. I'm a big fan of what I've been seeing as far as really it's from Billy. Like Billy is very courteous to other coaches.
Absolutely.
And he'll even in a competition environment, he'll say, hey, does your athlete need more time? I can maybe
That's
adjust my time so that your athlete can, because at the end of the day, I mean, we're not really trying to make anyone's experience bad,
right? Exactly.
Especially if no one's really meddling or nothing's
you're
on the
ideally
line.
not trying to screw people over,
right.
Again, unless you're in a situation where you're
right.
You can make a decision that will help your athlete.
Right, then it matters. Yeah,
then it matters.
As it gets kind of cutthroat.
For sure. Yeah, I can only imagine like at the international level what it must be like. Just all the games that they play and stuff like that. That's been one of my big goals, which I'm really glad with this Masters Nationals experience I was able to achieve, is to learn that competitive aspect. Because just one piece or layer onto my coaching experience that I can add on there. So I feel like I got a good shot at that this time around, and it just makes me more confident to go into other competitions and be like, okay, I can handle this.
Like, you run it. I got this.
I mean, I'm still a baby in terms of coaching. There's still a lot for me to learn, for sure.
No, I think it's awesome. Like, you know how many people down there have so much faith in you as their coach?
Aw, that's awesome.
That's
really
nice. A
nice.
real thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to... a lot of people have faith in you.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Shoot, there was something else I want to say.
Well, I wanted to ask you about coaching yourself. I mean, you said that you've done it.
Here's what I believe. Do you have a specific question?
No. Go. You could just expand on what you were talking about.
There's people that... It's okay if you don't have a coach. I don't even... It depends on the level of competition, I guess, that you want to go for. If you were an elite lifter, then you don't really need a coach at the national level. Especially if you're at the international level, you're gonna open up last. You know you're gonna go up last, and then you're gonna just sweep the medals.
Yeah.
Do you really need a coach for that? Not really.
Right.
If you're new, and anytime you're in the beginning of the session or the end of the session, it's so easy for you.
Very easy.
And then you don't need a coach. If you are in contention for medaling for something, and then you do have to play the game, you need a coach. Mm-hmm. Because you don't want to leave it up to chance. And really, I mean, I do like the fact that it is literally all on you. Mm-hmm. I do like that.
Yeah, you like that pressure.
Yeah. Because there's no one else to blame.
That's true.
Even if it was the coach's fault, I'm not a fan of the athlete blaming the coach. I think that's cop out. But I mean, that's just my opinion on self-coaching. Mm-hmm. If something's on the line, you shouldn't coach yourself.
Yeah. I think there's just so much to think about. Like you said, I mean, there's the game of weightlifting, and then there's the actual lifting. And as an athlete, like, that's all you really should be thinking about is the lift itself.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if you're being distracted by having to make all these other decisions, it just kind of takes away from your focus of doing the lift. Now, if you're lifting numbers maybe that like are just easy peasy, not really that much of a challenge for you, then okay, cool. Yeah, I think that would be fine. But
and there's a level also of an anxiety that you feel if you're self-coaching.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
It's night and day difference with how I feel whenever I have a coach with me.
Yeah. Well, that's a nice thing is like, for me, competing as an athlete is so much easier than coaching. So much easier. And I've done now a couple competitions where I've had to do both. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to me being an athlete, I'm like, oh, thank goodness. Like, now I can relax because if you have a coach there, all you have to worry about as an athlete is make the lift, right? You don't even have to know when to warm up. You just listen to your coach. Coach tells you, take this weight now. Okay, wait. I'll sit in the chair and wait until he says something else. Sit and wait. Okay, take this weight now. Like, all you have to do is literally sit there and do what coach tells you to do. And it's so much less stressful and way more fun than coaching. I mean, I like coaching too. I definitely get a thrill from it for sure.
Yeah. There's that's just a different type of thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. What would you prefer athletes do whenever I don't know how to phrase this. Mm-hmm. As a coach, ideally you would like certain things to happen. You don't want an athlete to be too nonchalant about everything.
Sure.
You want them to be locked in. If you were to talk to LVB athletes as a whole, if we are in competition, don't do this, or let's do this better. Do you have anything like that? Sorry.
Something not to do. Something I wouldn't want my athletes to do. I think.
How about this? If it's time for them to hit the lift, and you say you gotta hit it now, and then they take like 1 minute or 30 seconds to walk up to the bar, and then it's like you're supposed to do the next lift.
Oh my gosh, yeah, for sure.
I hate that.
Okay, that's a good one. Thanks for starting with that example. Yes.
Guys, if I say, I take it now, I don't want to see, let's chalk up.
I don't even have my shoes on.
It's now time to put on my wrap. No. Yes. Let's be ready first.
Yes.
if I say it's time to hit the lift,
Yes.
let's hit the lift.
Yeah, because in competition, you really don't, there's no guarantees in terms of the timing of everything. You really, that's why we prepare for all different scenarios, whether you have to follow yourself or you have to go really fast because numbers are really tight and there's not very much rest time. Or you might have a situation where there's lots of rest time, you know?
Yeah,
so
they got to be prepared for that.
Yeah, your athlete has to be prepared for that. You cannot complain as an athlete like, oh, well, I missed that lift because I had too long of a break in between. Like, no, you cannot make those complaints, right? That is the sport. You have to be ready for that. But yes, not being ready when coach tells you to take a lift, for sure. I think this happened once, and Janessa and I talked about it, recently, because I think it was AO2 or something, and she had a really small session, and everything was kind of moving fast, and I was like, Janessa, we need to take, I can't remember what it was, maybe one of her bar sets or one of her early warm-up sets, and she was like, she didn't even have her shoes on or her knee sleeves on, and I was like, no,
what are you doing?
We have to do this now. There's no time.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I want to try and give my athlete as much time and prep as possible. If I see, they're they still have gear to get on, I'll kind of try to hurry them up or say okay, at this time when the clock says that, we need to take this weight. So that's also part of the coach's job, is to manage that. If your athlete takes a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have so many people though. That's hard to manage.
True.
Have you had can I use the restroom?
Oh, yes, yeah. And I'm like, what? I mean,
oh my God, you're supposed to take your bar set right now.
And I know that because I do that as an athlete too, especially as a female,
Yeah,
I gotta make sure that I pee. But I know also as a coach that to be aware of those time chunks, where I do have time and where I don't. I actually think this happened at Masters Nationals. I assumed I didn't have time. Yeah. Because I knew where the clock was. But then I saw I think Jem was with me. She was my warm-up partner on the platform in the back. Mm-hmm. And I saw her going to the bathroom. And I was like, oh, if she has time to go to the bathroom, that means I have time to go to the bathroom. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom now. But yeah, I mean, there are some situations where it's no, you don't have time to go to the bathroom. You're going out next or something like that. So also as an athlete, you have to be aware for any scenario. That's why I coached Billy. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't want to say coached. I mean, he
generally knew what he needed, and he was the last lifter.
Yeah,
so.
He was the last lifter. There was no one else around him. It was him following himself. So counting him out was very, very easy. But what's cool about him is to see him as an athlete. He was prepared for anything.
Right.
If we had to go slower, we could go slower. If we needed to stretch out some of the attempts in the back, he could do that. If I needed to speed him up and go faster, he was ready for that. So that's what makes a good athlete in terms of weightlifting, is the preparedness for any scenario, because there might be a situation where someone burns your clock and you have to go out immediately and do a really heavy clean and jerk. So you kind of just have to be prepared for any scenario, and to blame your performance or lack of performance on factors like that, it just doesn't really make sense, because that's just part of the sport.
Right. Have you ever seen Billy warm up and compete before, or have you been in the back room doing that before?
No, I haven't. That was the first time.
Isn't it the coolest fucking
very
thing?
Cool. Very cool.
He's the calmest person,
so calm,
so chilled, the easiest person to hey, this change and you might have to do this. Okay.
Yeah. Very cool, calm, and collected. Yeah, just a true athlete. Yeah, it's really cool to watch for sure, especially because he as our head coach, we don't get to see him really train all that much. I mean, I do sometimes in the middle of the day. He's usually doing it in the middle of the day when we don't have classes. So to really see him put it all together. Oh yeah, that's right. You were at Masters Worlds.
I was at Masters Worlds. I was helping him load the bar. I was taking some videos.
Yeah.
Really, really cool seeing him warm up and show out on the platform.
Right.
And he even got called for a missed lift on the clean and jerk.
Yeah.
The bar was coming back at him, and he kind of put his foot out to stop the bar from coming back. And they said, "Oh, you can't do that. Yada yada yada. Mm-hmm. No, you can't put your foot on the bar. No lifts." Right. And he was like, "It is what it is."
That's it, man. You have to. What is it? Have you watched Ted Lasso? It's a show on Apple TV. It's with Jason Sudeikis, and he's basically a soccer coach.
Okay.
But it's a really, really good show, and especially if you're into sports, and like especially as a coach, it's really fun to watch like his demeanor. But one thing he talked about, I think in the first season, was that as an athlete you have to have the mind of a goldfish, which is just essentially they have a 10-second memory, or that's what he says in the show.
Yeah.
They have a 10-second memory and then they move on, and that's absolutely the kind of mentality you have to have in weightlifting.
Right.
Like you can't be dwelling on a missed lift, like even immediately after, even if it just happened, you cannot think about it. I still have one more clean and jerk that I have to make. I can't be thinking about this clean and jerk that maybe got called on a weird for technicality, you know. You just have to move on. Like I say that to people, especially if they have like a tough snatch session. It's like, dude, that's in the past. You cannot dwell on that snatch session. It doesn't exist anymore, because if your brain in your mind is there in the snatches, it's not there in the clean and jerk.
Right.
You know, so it's to be present and to move on from anything. I think is really important, just in terms of you know, like the mental game.
Yeah.
Like
because any negative thoughts that you have about a previous attempt is not going to help you.
That's right.
Moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't allow you to be in the present moment, and it doesn't allow you to visualize the lift that you do want to make. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's just true in life, right? Like, we don't want to dwell on things that don't matter to us. There's no point in dwelling in a missed lift, even though, like, you can be salty about it afterwards for sure, and you can learn what the lesson is from that. Like, I'm thinking, for example, myself, because I have my second clean and jerk I missed on the clean, which I never miss cleans.
This will be a good lesson. Tell them why. Tell them what you can do better.
Yes, so definitely a good lesson that I learned. I missed my second clean and jerk. I smoked my first clean and jerk. The clean went up so fast that I was like, oh, I got this. And in my mind, I was already visualizing the jerk, because that's always been the challenge for me in terms of the clean and jerk, is always the jerk. So in my mind, I had already like moved on from the clean and was already focusing on the jerk. And I missed that second clean and jerk. Well, missed the second clean because I had already like moved on. So at least the lesson there to learn was to be there and be present for the entire thing, right? Like, it's not just the jerk, it's the clean and jerk. So I have to be there for the clean. But I knew that I couldn't dwell on missing that clean for the next one, right? Because I had to do that same weight a few minutes later. I couldn't be like, oh, like, I'm so upset that I missed that clean, and so that just takes me out of it mentally. I knew I had to show up there for that last clean and jerk, even though maybe now in retrospect I'm like, that was a stupid mistake. I should have made that clean, but it's I can't dwell there, right? I have to just move on and be there for that last clean and jerk. And then I ended up making it, it's a good lesson because it's taught me to stay present throughout each attempt, right? We have 6 attempts, and I have to be there for each and every one. I can't be thinking ahead in the future, and I also can't be thinking about the past. I have to just take each lift as it is, and then, you know, go from there. So definitely a good...
Yeah, I've had an experience like that before.
Yeah.
I just went... So I had missed... I don't know what competition this is, but I had a competition, and I missed a clean. Yeah. Or maybe I missed a jerk. Maybe I missed a jerk. And then the next training cycle, I was like, well, I cleaned it. Yeah. I'm just going to work on jerks the whole next cycle. And then I had another competition. I couldn't clean the weights.
Yeah. So totally. That happens all the time.
Yeah. But, yeah, Coach Billy always says short-term memory.
Yes,
is a good characteristic for an athlete.
Absolutely.
Forget it and then move on.
Don't let it live in your head rent-free, you know? Like,
yeah.
why are you why are you even bothered, you know, when you're on, well, so here's the thing, I always think about everything existentially. When you're on your deathbed, like you're about to die, you're surrounded by your loved ones, right? Are you thinking about that stupid snatch that you missed at some, you know, AO Series 2 back in 2024 or whatever? Like, is that what you're going to be thinking about? Is that what you're going to, like, let poison you, you know, until you take your last breath? I mean, come on. Right?
Yeah. That'd be crazy if you just...
That's the one thing you're upset about.
Do you have any
regrets?
I wish I made that last snatch. Out of everything.
Oh, man.
Yeah. What's another characteristic that would be great for an athlete to have in weightlifting? I mean, Billy has a bunch of them.
Sure, yeah. Preparedness, ready for anything. To be focused. There's so much going on at weightlifting meets that... And I kind of found myself getting caught up in it too, and especially because, you know, I am also coaching, so it's easy to get distracted and start thinking about what other people are doing.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you're like sitting in the sort of staging chairs before you go onto the platform. You see everyone warming up, you see the feed of what's happening on stage, and you kind of get caught up in watching everything.
Yeah.
And then I just had to take a second and be like, okay, just focus on what I'm doing, you know, stay in my lane. That's all I can control.
Do you ever feel like you're looking around, like if you're competing and you're looking around and like if people are doing something, you feel like, I gotta be doing something too? I always feel like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's because I usually go up last.
Oh, that's
and
true.
Everyone's
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
Dang, maybe I should
like
be doing
someone's
something
warming
right
up with a band, and you're like, I should be warming up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe like how you're talking about Jem went to the restroom. Oh shoot, maybe I can go.
Yeah.
So another thing that Billy talks about is like a blessing to a coach, I guess, is an athlete that is not particular.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you think about athletes that need everything in the right place for competition? Does it make it easier or harder for you as a coach?
Oh, way harder. I mean, you just can't. I can't tolerate that as a coach. You just can't tolerate it because there are. I mean, you've been to enough national competitions and local meets that the setup is similar, but like everything can change, right? You might not get like the most optimal platform with... I mean, there were platforms at Masters Nationals where people are walking right by you the whole time, right? Walking in front of you.
Oh, in the warm-ups?
Yeah, in the warm-up area.
Okay.
Right? So you can't like be like, oh, you know, like I need a platform.
Screaming at everyone?
Yeah, exactly. It's like you also the music too. I think it kind of varies depending.
Did you see some people were bothered by some of that? Maybe the announcer being too loud. Maybe the music being too loud.
Not really.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I didn't see anyone being too bothered by that. But I think because, you know, we set the expectation that you have to be ready for anything. Yeah. And you have to be ready for any, like, scenario, warm-up area. I mean, man, like, some of my first weightlifting meets back in Hawaii, our warm-up area was literally like a sidewalk. Like, an uneven sidewalk back behind a stage. Like, we didn't even get platforms. There weren't even really, like, weightlifting bars. They were, like, kind of crappy,
that's the worst one,
CrossFit
especially
bars.
when they don't spin.
But, so it's like, I can't, you know, like, you can't predict that's going to be the scenario. So to expect that you're going to have a certain level, like, oh, it has to be quiet. Oh, no one can walk in front of me. Like, that's just not going to happen, man.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen at a national meet. You know, like, to some degree, we try to stay respectful of each other if we see people that are warming up in the back, but it's like, especially the way this was set up, you know, there's one platform that's kind of up against the wall far away from the entrance to the warm-up area. Okay. So it's like people have to walk all the way across the warm-up area in order to get to the other stage.
Like everyone,
not
even like, because were there other events going on there, or is it? I don't know what the setup was over there. Was it?
Well, it was contained. Yeah, it was in a ballroom. So actually, they did a really nice setup.
Oh, okay.
But just the way that the back area behind the stages was laid out, there was only one entrance really, and so to get to the other side, you had to cross through the entire warm-up area. Yeah. I mean, but they spaced it out pretty well. But
did that bother anyone?
No, I don't.
As far as our athletes?
Yeah, no, I didn't see. Yeah. I didn't see that, which is good. I mean, I would hope that our athletes would have the knowledge and experience to know that you can't control those kinds of things. Yeah. And you have to be prepared for that. You have to be prepared for people walking in front of you. That's going to happen at local meets and national meets, you know?
Yeah. So. If you are an athlete that wants to compete at the highest level and then your focus is broken by someone walking in front of you, I don't know if you got it. I don't know if you'll make it.
Yeah. Like, you should be able... Like, ideally, we have an etiquette to the sport, for sure. And you want to be as respectful as you can be. But you should literally... Like, if someone was screaming in your ear, you should be able to lift still. You know?
That's a good... Maybe we should try that.
Yeah, I'll try it with you.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good.
Or an air horn or something.
Oh, that would be... that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Just like at it.
Yeah.
Just like... my lifetime best. Okay, the only time I do get annoyed because you've been lifting over a decade, 13-ish
years.
So I'm like 11, something like that.
Yeah.
And at that point, it could be years between PRing.
Yeah.
Especially on the main lifts.
For sure.
So the only time that I will probably get annoyed is if it is an all-time PR. I have taken so many attempts at like 90 to 95, 97, 98 that it just, that's fine. I don't care. You can walk in front of me. But if it's 100 plus,
are you talking
about I might get
in,
bothered.
In the training, like in the gym, in the training? Okay.
Because on Max Out Friday, people know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know there's an energy about, he's going for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's the benefit, too, of having a training environment where we spend a lot of time with each other and we see the numbers that we're doing. So we kind of get an idea of where each other's numbers are. And we literally have them written. We have a PR board in our gym. So we kind of know what is heavy or what is, top percentages for each other. So we can kind of get a feel for if someone is going heavy. So... And also, once one person starts to catch on to that, then that brings the whole energy of the gym into, this person is about to lift heavy, let me focus. So it's not like everyone has to be aware of it, but if I see, like, Vanessa is focusing on you and trying to, stay out of your way or be quiet, if I see that, then my response is also going to be to focus and, not try to distract you or whatever. So I think it's kind of a reciprocal thing that we all kind of manage that focus for each other.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any of those little quirks? Like, for me, it was at max attempts. Yeah, maybe.
For sure. Yeah, if I'm near top weight, yeah,
same
definitely.
Thing?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think, like I said, I think everyone's kind of aware of when that happens. Before it used to be, I've done this less and less now, and I've kind of almost phased it out. But I used to do like a stomp and a yell before I would lift.
Yeah.
And
we weren't seeing that.
I know.
We all were talking about it.
Yeah, I phased it out. I used to do it all the time, and I think what it did was it kind of made me too rigid.
Yeah. That's interesting.
And I liked it I used to do it before every single lift, like snatch and clean and jerk. And then I stopped doing it for the snatch because I didn't want to like amp myself up. I wanted to stay calm so that I can kind of move through the lift. I didn't want to like be tight and tense.
Right.
I would still do it on the clean and jerk, but then I eventually phased it out of the clean and jerk because it was the same thing. I felt like I was too if I was too worked up, it would make my body just like tight and rigid.
Right. And
what I wanted to do was I wanted to allow my body to move through the positions, and I wanted the positions to move the bar.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And this is one of the big things I've been working on, like technically in my lifting in the last comp prep cycle, is just not to stop trying to do stuff to the bar, not like, I have to like pull the shit out of it, or I have to like jerk this like overhead really quickly, or I have to like drive my legs really long. I stopped trying to do like so much, and I started trying to allow the positions to move the bar and trying to allow that sequencing to move the weight. And I think that has been more successful for me in this last comp prep than like yelling and screaming and getting all fired up. Right. Now, for some athletes, that absolutely works. They need to bring a little bit of energy and they need to put in some effort. But for me, I've been lifting so long that I just knew that was, at some point, it was working against me.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's kind of like the difference between just being extremely explosive and being a finesseful lifter.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that because I also got rid of my pre-lift ritual.
Oh, yeah, what was it? It was like
just
a pull, right?
Yanking the bar, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I would like... there was a purpose. Like I wanted to feel the weight,
sure,
because then I can like apply. I know exactly how much tension to apply,
right,
so that I can maintain my positions. Because before I could just pull hard, and then I could technically pull myself out of position. Like I could pull myself forward if I didn't do that. But I went away from it. What I used to do was pull it up, and then I go
Yeah, that's right.
And then, but I was way too tense.
Yeah, there's something about that like, kind of yelling and like and like banging on your chest and stuff that might work for like something like powerlifting where you have to bring the energy, but
Right.
man, the more that I weightlift, the more that I just believe that the positions move the bar, right? That's why we start with position when we teach weightlifting and when new people learn weightlifting, is if you put your body and the bar through these series of positions, that will move the weight, you know? And I think that's a little bit more nuanced of a topic. It's not really something that I would necessarily introduce to like new lifters, because when you're just starting lifting, you have to put in some effort, right? You have to like do stuff to the bar, like you have to try. But now that I've been lifting for longer, I just feel like that, like I said, it was working against me. It was not allowing me to move effectively through the positions. It was kind of like almost stopping me from being really fluid with the bar. So so I stopped doing that, and I don't know, I think I kind of like not doing it, you know? But that was all that to say is I used to do that because it was sort of, that would also help kind of alert everyone around me that I was about to lift heavy, you know? So that was
watch me.
So people knew like, oh, Jen's getting ready to lift. So we were talking about trying to,
oh, she's doing her stomp again. Everyone look.
Yeah. So now
I like your ritual.
Aw.
Yeah, I like your ritual. But I guess it doesn't do anything to the lift, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Aside from making you tense.
For sure. I mean, for me, it's not I'm still limited, I think, technically. I think I'm limited in my lifting. You could get better. Yes. I think I'm limited by my technique. So when it comes to heavy lifting, it's not really that it's heavy for me. It's whether or not I can move the bar in the places it needs to go. You know what I mean? So I would think maybe if strength was the limiting factor, maybe you would need a little bit more like to get amped up for a lift or something, because you need to apply that power and strength. But for me, I need to apply the correct technique in order to move the bar. You don't
have to grind out cleans.
No.
You stand them up straight up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so strength is not, as opposed to like someone like Janessa, like she was really struggling. Like she'll pull the bar. She has no problem pulling the bar, but like when she stood up, I was like, oh, that's a little bit grindy.
Yeah, exactly. She has great technique. I mean, she moves well. Her positions are good. She accelerates and has good tempo. She might be
even too explosive for her own good.
For sure. I think the legs maybe need to catch up with that. Sorry, Janessa. I mean, I don't know if this
is I she's like, she could like, kind of like how you're saying, like, I lean back a little bit.
Yeah.
She gets some of that.
Yeah.
In her snatch.
Right, yeah.
Because she generally misses behind, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's true. It's kind of moving out and around. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I told her after Masters Nationals, I'm like, you're a 55, 60 kilo snatcher.
Does she believe it?
I don't know. I hope she does. I told her. I hope she does. I think she can see the potential there for sure.
The thing with her, she gives so much effort.
Yeah.
It's just like, I want her to lift so much.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I don't care what it is. I just want her to lift whatever she wants to lift. Because there's some people that I think deserve it, and there's some people I'm like,
nah, man.
No, for real. Like,
yeah, totally.
I'm like, man, you don't.
No, she tries hard always. And what's crazy, I mean, I remember when I first started going to the gym, and, I was obviously like lifting more than her because I'm just like a bigger weight class. But I remember anytime we did accessories, she would go hard.
Yeah.
So hard that I was having trouble like keeping up with her. I mean, if we had like dumbbell lunges and stuff, she'd be picking up like 40s, 45s, and she's a small gal. Uh-huh. She's a 49 kilo lifter. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm trying to keep up with her on the accessories. So she definitely, she works hard. She puts in the effort for sure. And she's committed to the process of becoming better.
Right.
So, yeah, definitely.
She's definitely one to call you out if you're not doing something on the program.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, for sure. She's definitely a good training partner also. She'll push you, but she also knows, where to kind of pull you back a little bit. But
she has the coach's eyes too.
I agree with that.
She does. There's very few people that I trust with like The coach's eye is very important.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I mean, anyone can get their USAW level 1, but if you don't have that eye to recognize what issues are technically, then, I mean, you don't really got it.
Absolutely.
Like, you can have this piece of paper all day, but it's more important that you have this ability to see certain things.
Yeah,
and I think she does.
Yeah, I told her I think she would make a great coach. But
I mean, she's told me things that have benefited my lifting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But enough about Janessa. Let's actually get into your lifting. Like, that was huge.
Aww.
Guys, Jen got a 7 kilogram total competition PR.
Yeah.
That's huge.
At a lighter body weight. At a lower weight class. Sorry.
Yeah.
Lower weight class. Yeah. I know. I mean...
It's about time. Like, I think everything came together.
Thank you. What's really interesting is, like, out of, I think, 8 people in my category, still ranked 7th, which is fine. That's totally fine. I'm so proud of myself for what I achieved just compared to, you know, my past experiences and stuff, that I'm, like, so happy with how it went. And I think maybe someone, you know, on the outside could be like, oh, well, she only ranked 7th or whatever. But it's like, man, I don't care. I was so happy with how I did. And I was happy with how I did. I'm proud of myself. And then I'm also... I also still had lessons to learn, like that whole thing about the clean. So I'm happy on that front too, that there was still something that I could take away from this experience that I could learn and grow from, you know.
You were just watching the live stream. I want to post the videos here, but I don't know if I have any. No, you have them all. You should send me, and then I'll put them in here. Yeah, you were just you had a different look in your eye, and the intensity that you had. It's just like there was just something different.
Man, I think there are a couple factors into why I think that everything came together. One of them was my theme for this year, and my theme in this comp prep was consistency over everything. Because I think sometimes I would get really deep into comp prep, and I would just get so frustrated if I was missing lifts or whatever, or things felt heavy and hard, or I was feeling achy, and I would just kind of burn out. But I was like, no, I'm going to commit to every single training session, and I'm going to auto-regulate all of my percentages, which just means for me that I needed to choose numbers that were going to elicit the type of lift that I wanted to do, right? So for me, the numbers did not matter at all. In comp prep, I didn't care if I was at the top of my percentage range or the bottom or even below the bottom. I just cared about, can I move the weight the way that I want to move it? Okay. Is it moving the way that I want to move it? If it's not, then that's it. I have to bring the percentages back down or adjust in some way. Right, so consistency over everything, just making sure that I was getting my training sessions in and that I was intentional in those training sessions, that I was regulating myself and making sure that I was focusing on quality of lifting. So that's piece number 1. And then piece number 2 is like the mindset stuff that really just kind of came into play at the last minute. Just believing that I could do it, you know, believing that I was so for those people that don't know, I guess you'll maybe show videos, but I snatched 65 kilos, which is a lifetime PR match. I've only ever snatched it twice in my lifetime. The first time was like when I was in my 20s, just once in training.
Look, I don't want to dismiss that.
Yeah.
You snatched 65 only twice?
Yes.
In training?
Right.
And it was in your early years of lifting.
Well, one was in my early years, and then the other one was a few weeks ago before in comp.
So really, you only did it once.
Yeah.
Before, because that was in your comp preparing for this.
Right.
And you were able to hit your best number on the competition platform.
That's right.
That's crazy. Yeah. Years apart.
Yeah.
Years apart. Okay, can you?
Yeah, so that was a lifetime competition PR, because I think the highest I've ever snatched in competition at a local meet was 63 maybe. So.
Okay.
So the mindset of believing I'm a 70 kilo snatcher, even though I've never snatched 70 kilos before, you know, but believing that I could do it, that I'm capable of doing that, I think gave me the confidence that I could do 65. You know what I mean? Because if in my head, if I believe that I'm a 70 kilo snatcher, then 65 is not going to be a problem.
Absolutely.
Right?
You should be able to do that.
I should be able to do that. And I think that's where that played in, is like, my self-image and how I perceive myself and what I'm capable of has really shifted in the last even month before competition. I think that played such a big role. Also visualization. I talked about that with the clean and jerk. I mean, I did that with every single snatch, before I stepped out onto the platform. Even while I was addressing the bar, I closed my eyes and I saw like myself with my arms locked out. And I think that piece of it was, I mean, I can't even believe that it worked,
Yeah.
And whether or not, who wants to argue what factors of competition prep or training led into me being able to do that 65. I mean, you could argue that it was maybe something else or whatever, but I really do think it was because I strongly visualized that end result that's why it happened.
Right.
You
got to believe it before you can achieve it.
That's right. Yeah. And it's crazy that it's kind of taken me this long in my lifting journey to learn all this stuff. Because I've been lifting a long time, but it's cool that it's happening at all. I think maybe some people don't even get to the point where they kind of get to realize how big the mental component plays into weightlifting. You obviously had to address it because you're lifting at a competitive level nationally. So you have to address the mental game of weightlifting.
Yeah, the mental stuff that I've overcome is, I don't know, have you ever cried at just on the build up for a meet?
For sure, yeah. Or like a missed lift or missed PR opportunity. Yeah.
Like, but that's after. I'm talking about before.
Gotcha. Before?
Like just thinking of like potential results.
Oh, I've
done that.
You've done that?
Yeah. Because I have like, I'm motivated by failure a lot of times.
Gotcha.
And like I just have this narrative that like I've done a lot for this.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that I've missed out on.
Sure.
There's a lot of we call it sacrifice, but I do want to do this.
Yeah.
And it's just like hello. Okay, sorry guys, we got cut out there because of the battery. That's the first time that happened.
Oh wow.
That's pretty cool.
We're back though.
We have so much conversation that we could just.
I know, we run out the battery.
That's actually really cool. I was talking about like sacrifice, and I was like crying in competition or something like that.
That's right. Crying in expectation of.
Yeah, it's just like I guess I could say I've given up so much opportunity, so much time with people, and it's just like I have this thing where it's like, if I fail, if I go over there and don't make a single lift, one, I look so dumb. Mm-hmm. I look fucking dumb to my family, my friends, because, dude, like I said, we've been training like all year for one meet.
Yeah. For
less than 6 minutes.
Right.
And then all of it came for nothing.
Yeah.
That I get really emotional about that sometimes. Mm-hmm. But I don't actually have that thought that much anymore now that I have a coach.
Yeah.
Because
it doesn't all fall on you.
Yeah.
It's just, there's more collaboration there.
Right. I could blame it on someone else. No, I'm joking.
Well, also there's more support. You have more support with a coach and teammates that can help you keep everything in perspective, right? Yeah. Because you would probably agree, maybe the things that you're telling yourself, you wouldn't necessarily say that to someone like one of your teammates or your training partners, like, you piece of shit, you bombed out. Like, you wouldn't say that to, I don't know, maybe. Right? And so
I would say jokingly, but no.
Yeah.
The story. So here's something that I think is interesting, and I do want to go back to you competing. I don't want this to be like, I want to talk about your achievements, but something that I do think about, and it comes from Chris Kim, is coming into the gym and being nonchalant and having no expectations. I don't like that mindset.
Sure. Yeah.
I have high expectations because I committed so much time that if I'm supposed to come in and make a 100 kilo snatch and I don't, I am upset about it.
Right.
And I feel like I should be.
Yeah.
Because I'm a 100 plus kilo snatcher.
Right.
So it's just, I don't know how I got onto that. It's just like the different mindsets and the ideas of like, because what is that mindset? That's to protect you from being upset at your own failures. I think you should have the highest expectation of yourself.
Yeah. I think we've talked about this in terms of style of how you are motivated, and because you're motivated by not wanting to fail, that kind of gives you a different drive than someone who is just trying to do their best. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I couldn't imagine just showing up to a competition and there's a reason why I'm doing the competition. It's either to qualify, there's like a goal, like a, you know, it could be a medal, it could be a record, to try and make an international team.
Yeah.
I have an expectation. If I don't reach that, then it's okay. It's I'm supposed to be upset at myself because I had a goal and I didn't complete it.
Right.
So I have that same mindset. If I come to train, or when I come to training, I have it on my programming, I'm supposed to hit 90, 80, 85%, whatever it is. That's just how I feel. Like, I don't think that it's... I'm going to go on a rant.
Yeah, no. I think that's good to know about yourself at least, right? For me, it's a different story because I'm not nationally competitive or trying to make any international teams or whatever. So I think for me, I just want to do the best for myself, and I'm motivated. I think we talked about this in the last podcast too, like what people are motivated by, if they're motivated by like positive reinforcement or negative. And I think for me, I just always want to do my best. And who knows, if I had maybe more of that, like, I don't want to say self-loathing. Is it a little bit self-loathing? No?
Shoot.
But like an expectation of myself to do better, maybe I could be better.
Being toxic, I guess. I don't think it's healthy. Like,
yeah, gotcha.
But I mean, I wouldn't put that type of pressure on someone else.
Yeah.
But I have that type of pressure for myself.
Gotcha. Do you think that'll change ever?
No.
I think that's what makes you such a great athlete and a fierce competitor, is to have that mindset.
So your clean and jerks are really great. What? Okay, so you're talking about the...
Oh my god.
Okay, based off your run-up on this competition,
yes.
What can... Because you said a lot of things. You said visualization. You said being in the moment. You can't disregard a certain movement just because I make it and this is the lift I make. I don't gotta worry about that. I think
the thing I did wrong was I took that clean for granted, because the first one went up so easy, and I was like already thinking about. So I opened at 72. Went to 75, and in my mind I was already on 78, so I wasn't like mentally there for 75, and that's why I missed it. And so I just took it for granted, and now I know to not do that. So guys, don't take weights for granted. That's right. I don't care if you are good at it. You're not. Yeah. All right? Humble yourself. That's essentially what it is, right? You're right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got to be there. You got to be present with the weight. You can't be thinking about the next lift already. All right, athlete highlights. Who is... Wow, I'm most impressed with this person. Like, I can't believe... For me, it's Janessa, honestly. Oh, just to see... even, I don't care what the circumstances around her getting her medals. She got She's a national champion in my eyes. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's because we know the effort that she puts in, and we know how much she cares about it and how hard she works. So, I mean, that was... super cool. I want to shout out Cindy, because So Cindy is an incredible snatcher. That she's like one of the best snatchers technically in the gym, I think. But what was interesting... I think I've said that too. Yeah. But what was interesting was she made her first snatch, which I think historically she's always missed her opener. So that's always been a tough thing for her to make her opener. And I think she's since turned that sort of narrative around, and she always makes her opener now. But she made the opener and missed the second two, which, is a little bit uncharacteristic, I would think, for Cindy's lifting. But the cool thing is that she made all three of her clean and jerks, and I believe maybe an all-time PR in the clean and jerk. She got a PR clean and jerk. Oh my gosh. And so for her to go 3 for 3 on clean and jerk, PR on the last one, because I know how important getting better on the clean and jerk was to her. She knows that she's a solid snatcher, but for her, the clean and jerk was like the thing she wanted to improve on. Cindy has come a long way. And so for her to achieve that, I think is like really freaking awesome. Yeah. They were going head to head, huh? Basically in numbers. Like they were right with each other. Yeah. Who did Janessa edge her out a little bit? I can't quite remember what the numbers were. But that's kind of cool that like they can essentially be training partners and push each other. For sure. I wonder if they have that type of drive. I don't know. Probably not, huh? I don't know. I don't know if they compete against each other like that. With each other? It's probably not good. For significant others to compete against each other? I would love it. Yeah? I would love it. I don't know. I mean, I lift more than my husband, so... I don't know if... Would you like it if he outlifted you? Yeah, absolutely. I would love if he outlifted me. For sure. But as of now, we're working on that. Working on that for sure. Do you think he's stronger than you? Yes, definitely.
So there's a big difference.
Yeah.
Because he has man strength.
Yes, he has like farm strength,
Yeah.
real functional strength to like do shit and like carry big pieces of plywood and, like use equipment and stuff like that. He has like pure strength.
Yeah. And I didn't mean to assume his strength. Farm strength that's a better term.
Yeah.
He's
got farm strength for sure.
Who else? And I think you got to shout out Billy, man.
Oh my gosh!
I think we got to shout out Billy because he took the snatch American record from Chad Vaughn.
Yeah.
Chad Vaughn, if you guys don't know, 2008 Olympian.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
I think he's a snatch specialist too.
Yeah.
I think he held the American record snatch in the senior category for a long time.
Oh, really?
I think I'm pretty sure it was like 150 something.
Gotcha. That's crazy.
I mean,
that's nuts.
But it just shows that it doesn't, because obviously masters are lifters that are at their later stage in life. It shows that Billy's still progressing.
That's right. Yeah. That's why it's like, I don't know. I personally now feel like I'm the best lifter I've ever been.
Right.
Way better than I was in my 20s. Even though my body is like physically older, So I think
Is it? You think it's like physically older? I wanted to talk to Billy about this because I heard him say that weightlifting is a fountain of youth. And I wanted to have a conversation with him about that because I think that's so intriguing.
Well, think about the way that we have to move the bar. I mean, if you're able to do the movements to any degree, even if it's not like snatching the way that we snatch or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're able to take a bar and put it from the ground to overhead, think of all the things that have to be going right in your body to be able to do that. And think about carrying those qualities into your old age. I mean, just strength, coordination, power, speed, like those are things that as you age, I mean, they're only going to be beneficial to have.
Right.
I think I saw, I was looking at the results for the women, and the oldest athlete I think was like 83 years old.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is so cool. Like, I want to be lifting when I'm 83 years old.
You know who the number one best lifter is? I don't know his name.
Oh.
But he was 81 years old.
Yeah. I saw that from Sinclair, right? Because of the age and weight class.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's cool.
I don't know what your name is, sir.
Awesome.
But I think Billy is the number one lifter.
Yeah.
Just to be honest.
I think Billy was second next
to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Billy got you.
Man, yeah, for him to snatch 120 on his second attempt, I think the way that we had planned it out was that he was going to open at 117 and go to 20 on his next one so that he could have possibly two chances to make that 120, because the old record is 119.
Correct.
So 120 would break the record. And when he made it on that second one, I mean, I lost my mind. You know? And it was so cool that he even got like a third attempt. I mean, obviously it was...
It was high enough, it looked like.
Yeah, I mean...
It got to his chin, honestly.
For sure, yeah. I think he definitely could have... That was definitely
It was less
there.
pressure to make that.
But I think when you... Again, like when you mentally prepare yourself for 120 and you hit 120, it's going to be really, really hard to get yourself mentally to the place immediately to go to 123. Right? That's why Billy talks about this in the gym too, when it comes to like max out days and heavy days, is usually if an athlete celebrates too early, that's like a surefire way that they're not going to hit anything above that, So I always try to have to kind of corral people in when they get excited about their lifts on a max out day, because we know as coaches, we watch something, we know how well it's moving, we know if there's more in the tank and there's a possibility for more kilos there. But if the athlete is already mentally done at whatever weight they just did, they're not going to be able to turn it around and get themselves mentally there for the next lift, even though we know as coaches that they can do it, they can physically do it.
Right.
So I think that's an interesting piece.
Pro tip of the day: don't celebrate too early.
Don't celebrate too early.
You're gonna cut your session shorter.
That's right. Yeah.
You could have more in the tank.
Yeah, you could be leaving kilos on the table for sure. So that's part of like the athlete demeanor is, you can be excited if you hit something, but just, especially if you're working with a coach and a coach is watching you, trust your coach, and if they say that, okay, put two more kilos on, we're going to take another one. Don't get too overly excited, like just because.
I hate that though.
Yeah, what's that?
Because I want to celebrate every big lift. Because my mindset is that there's so many, we don't have that many big lifts in us.
Yeah.
So I want to give it like it's a respect. Like, like, man, I actually did this. So
but
I'm
I
just
think
like,
for you, it might be a different story than for maybe some of our other athletes where they haven't quite reached like the peak. Well, I'm not saying that you reach the peak of your capabilities, but you're kind of pushing that edge farther and farther. Whereas a lot of our athletes are newer, beginner, intermediate athletes where they still have like a big ceiling. They still have a long way to climb.
Yeah.
And if they start capping themselves early by celebrating, then it kind of just stops that cap. You know what I mean? So I think maybe for you it's a different story. Of course, like anytime you get a PR, you've been lifting for so long that it should be like a big freaking deal. But maybe for some,
it's annoying to me with seeing new athletes that are like,
PR
I just PR'd a kilo. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
I wish I could PR a kilo.
That's right. Yeah, I think that's important too is, to celebrate your wins like that and also to not feel like you're owed those kilos also, just because you...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You're not
owed anything.
Yeah, I feel like folks shouldn't feel entitled to kilos on the bar when,
Isn't it annoying when someone comes up out of nowhere? I mean, you might not think it's annoying. Well, I think it's annoying.
Mm-hmm.
When a new athlete comes out of nowhere and they just have all the talent in the world.
Sure.
And they don't... You give these weights the respect that they, because you fought with these weights.
Right, yeah.
These guys
you're like, come on, man. Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
maybe I'm just hating. I'm probably just
I think you're just hating. I think for me, I'm more like impressed. Like, wow, that's incredible.
You see Olivia Reeves?
Oh my gosh.
She squatted 218.
218?
I think it was 218. Maybe it was just 210. But regardless, triple body weight.
Yeah. Nuts.
When is the last time we've seen an American female do that?
Yeah, I have no idea.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's cool.
And that's really not cool. Like the lightest weight category either, where you can get triple body weight. She's like in somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm really rooting for her.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, what else?
What else? I don't know. What about you? What do you have? You have competitions coming up, or no? We're waiting.
We'll keep everything under wrap.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what? I'm telling people like my body weight cuts and stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm all about narratives, right?
Yeah.
And I think you are too.
Absolutely.
Like because when you go through a training cycle, like this is what I expect for myself. This is like my goals.
Right.
Da 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 da. And I already even have narratives for like AO finals.
Sure.
Someone said something that pissed me off.
Oh no.
Oh no. It was nationals in Colorado.
Okay.
They put me in the B session. And I know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, he's in B session. I wish I could go to that. Anyway. Dude, there was only like 4 or 5 lifters. Why is there a B session?
In the B session?
That pissed me off.
They didn't even combine like weight classes or something?
No.
To make it a bigger session?
I'm going to be fair. And Gabe Chum, you're a beast. I don't want to say his name right. Gabe Chum, you're a beast. So you deserve, obviously, to be in the A session. They just split us up.
Gotcha.
Like, he was the only one in the A session.
It was just a weird split.
So, yeah, I'm like, what the heck?
Interesting.
It kind of messed up the medals,
You think that they
too.
did that specifically to slight you? They did that on purpose to you. They
Yeah.
saw your name.
Obviously. You know what I mean?
They were like, nah, B session. He's a B session.
And now they're
lifter.
drug testing me? Like, what's the deal with that?
Oh my gosh. They're just trying to get in your head. They're getting in your head.
No, but like the narrative right now is that people don't believe in my weight cut. So
I believe in your weight cut.
I believe in anything that you want to do too.
Thanks.
But I mean, it's an aggressive cut, and the thing is that I've been there before at the lower weights,
Sure.
and I've hit numbers that that would win in my adult life in that weight category. Mm-hmm. So it's not unreasonable for me to have the same performance. I think people believe that, hey, one, how are you going to cut that much weight? Mm-hmm. And two, if you do get down there, you're not even going to be able to do what you're doing.
Sure. Can you maintain your strength and abilities?
But what people don't factor in is that everything that I've done is to get to this point. Mm-hmm. Like everything that I was going to the Philippines, getting that strength that I've gone to. I literally am at a point where I'm like, I don't really got to push strength that much at all.
Yeah.
And that's, how good of a feeling that is?
Yeah, you just
that's
have to dial everything in.
I just have to make sure I maintain. And it's so much easier to maintain than to keep building past.
Sure.
So it's, my point is that I have a narrative already for this next cycle. So.
Yeah. Do you think of things in like like a year-long thing, or even like 2 or 3 years out? Do you think about things that far out?
For weightlifting, I have, but
Yeah.
it's starting to. I mean, I don't have much time left
Sure,
doing
yeah.
weightlifting. As far as like being as competitive as possible.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Things may change, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Who the people in the sport now are just on a different level.
Well, you could always set some or break some American records, Masters American records. If you did go down to that weight class, we do have someone who set the record. Miguel set the record for the 55 snatch, 55 kilo snatch.
You seen the 61 kilo?
No. What is it?
It's the guy that I beat at Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh. I think I know who you're talking about. Well, do you know what the record is?
Funny enough, the records that he said, it was the numbers that he beat me with in Vegas.
Oh, gotcha.
So he got, I don't know, 101, 125.
Oh.
Something like that.
He beat you with 101?
Yeah, but it was my first national meet with Las Vegas Barbell.
Okay.
So I mean, I was going through a lot of changes.
Yeah. Being conservative on your number choices.
It's not just. I mean, I think Billy puts numbers on that. Like those were challenging for me at the time.
Well, you won a medal there, right, in the clean track?
I mean, it was actually in the snatch.
Snatch?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
That's weird. Like I got it in like a 98 kilo snatch, or something
Gotcha.
like that. Or no, it was 101. I don't think I've gone to a national meet with barbell and done less than 100. But no, I was just going through a lot of adjustments.
Gotcha.
So many adjustments. I mean, every time I'm talking to you, I feel like I'm talking about adjustments.
Maybe you should just stop adjusting things and just keep doing one thing.
But that's the thing. Weightlifting is like every time you put another kilo on the bar, things change.
Do they?
Yeah, and then you have to adjust. You don't think so? You think whenever you get like to 100%, you don't think things start falling apart?
Well,
and then eventually 100% changes.
I guess maybe that makes sense. I just think it can be dangerous sometimes to adjust too much.
For sure.
You know, especially, I mean, I think I'm talking about the context of technique, let's say.
Yeah.
If you're always adjusting things and changing things, then you have no constant like technique to apply, and so you don't really ever know what's working and what's not working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
And this could be a good lesson for the listeners. Mm-hmm. I have done every technique possible.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
All
you're
right?
always talking about technique.
So. This is a reason why you should get a coach.
Yeah.
Because I've gone every single direction with every type of technique. And if I just had a coach to keep me
you
focused
gotta
on one
stick with
direction,
something for long enough to know whether or not it's working. If you're
Right.
constantly changing, you know, the grip or the stance of your feet, it's like you're just working against yourself. You're just gonna keep taking whatever, one step forward, two steps back. You're gonna keep doing that. So, I mean, at least the benefit is even if you were, I think the danger is in looking for something that's optimal, right? What's the optimal contact point in the clean? What's the optimal hand grip for me in the jerk? Like if you keep trying to find what that is and don't stick with one thing for long enough to figure out whether or not it works, then you're just always going to be, you're never going to be progressing. You're just always going to be at a standstill.
Right. And I think that's to generalize it even further, I think that's just the danger of overthinking.
For sure.
And it's just, you need to periodize something for a certain amount of time to even know if it's worth it.
Right. I mean, I think we talked about this in the last podcast, but even the top level, elite weightlifters don't have perfect technique.
Yeah. Some of the worst lifting techniques.
Yeah, and it's, some of it is not optimal technique, but they do it enough consistently to be able to see progress.
Right.
And it's only when you get to a point where maybe there's a plateau or something and, there's not much forward. I don't even want to say progress because there's so many different ways to test, to measure progress in weightlifting other than just kilos. You know what I mean? But in this case, maybe if you see that there's some technique thing that's hindering an athlete from, achieving more than maybe you want to address it. But to constantly be changing stuff, it just, I don't know.
No,
I'm not a fan.
That's a bad move.
I'm not a fan. And that's it. That's what
one thing at a time if you're going to change something.
Yeah, that's what's tough about having so much weightlifting information and technique information accessible to people, especially if you're teaching yourself or you're learning from stuff online, is there's so much information about what other people are doing, and maybe you're looking at certain lifters that you admire and like they do this and this person does this. But honestly, if you just start with the foundational pieces and like try to get as good as you can at those pieces, like maybe then if you're competitive, then you can start to play around with all the little intricacies and stuff. But I mean, I don't know that a lot of folks will even get to that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So maybe it's okay for them to overthink because they're not gonna get there anyway. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm not calling anybody out.
Let's do it. Let's this segment of the podcast is just us calling people out. All right. First person. No. What's up? You have anything else you want to talk about? I really wanted this to be like as we started talking, it's a competition.
Yeah.
How can people like what can people learn about competition?
For sure.
Let's talk about like the stuff that you did so that because you had a great meet.
Yeah.
So like those things, visualization. What else you say?
Consistency in my training.
Respecting the weights.
That's right.
Or the movements.
Yeah. I mean, really finding ease in the lift. I mean, and like I said, I don't think that I recommend this for newer lifters because newer lifters, you do have to put in some effort. You do have to pull hard and you do have to move fast and like you do have to do stuff to the lift or with the lift. But in my case, because I've been so exposed to the technique and the positions for so long, I just had to let that foundational piece, the positions, move the bar. Correct. And like find ease and sort of like allow it to be almost at rest, like allow the bar to be at rest while the body moved it through these series of positions. And obviously the bar is in motion, but like allowing the sequencing of the positions to create the lift, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
to find a little bit of like sort of relaxation in the lift versus, getting like pumped up and amped up.
Me and John talked about that, the importance of being relaxed when you're lifting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's something I didn't ask that as you were talking, it made me remember. How important is the first pull off the ground?
Oh, I mean, like that's the train on the tracks. It's either going to be on the tracks or it's going to be off the tracks. Now, that is to say it's not impossible to make up a poor first pull on the back end, but if you can just fix your first pull right off the bat and not have to deal with all the bullshit on the back end of the lift, then why wouldn't you just do that? You know what I mean? I mean, I think the first pull, it's so easy to look over it because it's not the fun, sexy like part of weightlifting. The fun, sexy part is the second and third pull, right? The second pull where you're accelerating and you're creating power and you have contact, and the third pull where you pull yourself under the bar. That's all the really fun, sexy stuff of weightlifting. The first pull is the boring ass, day in, day out, hold the line, just keep the position, and it's not super fun to train because it's very uncomfortable. Yeah. Holding that position, keeping your legs loaded, keeping your shoulders over the bar, making sure your back angle doesn't change. Like, it's so boring. Like, I
love this.
But it's so important because if you do not have that in place, all of the other stuff on the back end, the second and third pull, cannot happen correctly. Yeah. So the first pull is so important, and I really do think, I mean, I can watch as a coach, I can watch if I see someone's first pull, I can almost guarantee whether or not, like, I can tell if they're going to make or miss the lift by their first pull.
For sure.
I mean, obviously, like I said, you can sometimes make up and, like, make compensations on the back end of the lift in order to save a lift, but I can usually tell if someone's going to miss or make a lift based on the first pull.
I was going to go the other way.
Ooh.
So this is crazy.
Okay.
You might have convinced me, though.
Oh.
I was going to say, it doesn't matter at all. People want to be so aggressive in the first pull, and then it messes everything up because you miss positions. My stance on this is, hey, relax. Get yourself to the right position until you can get to the second pull. Mm-hmm. If you were in an optimal position and you did the right job in the first pull, which is get the bar in position, like how we're working on the blocks today, then everything should, like, the second pull and into the third pull is where you can start being aggressive. If you want, I mean, there's a time and place. The timing is different for different people, but generally don't go too crazy on the first pull.
Oh, well, I agree with you there. Absolutely. I think people should not try too hard on the first pull. And what I mean by that is it doesn't matter how fast or slow the bar is moving in the first pull.
That's what I should have asked.
It doesn't matter. It can go slow as molasses. As long as I can hold the position and get the bar past the knees and accelerate, it doesn't matter how slow or fast it moves. What happens if you do pull too fast is, like you said, it pulls you out of position, and so you basically lose access to the second and third pull because you've already pulled it. It's already out of position.
Right.
So, I mean, if you look at, there's plenty of lifters out there who have really, really slow first pulls. I mean, a good example of that, like who's kind of popular right now, is Ramat from Indonesia. From Indonesia. Slow pull off the ground, but he maintains his position as the bar travels past the knee, and even it's still kind of moving slow into the hip. Normally we accelerate after the bar passes the knees, but he kind of keeps it slow all the way until like right before the hip. And I mean, look at the weights that he's moving. Yeah. And then you want to talk about someone who's like technique is maybe not optimal, but
I hate his technique.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying though.
Yeah. So I think the important piece in the first pull is not to try really hard, but to try hard, not to try to like pull the shit out of it. It's to try to keep the position in place until the bar gets to the knee.
Yeah.
So
no, I hear you. I mean, you've been preaching position, and I'm all about that now.
Yeah.
This is the slowest I've ever moved a barbell. Like as far as the first pull, because I'm like, I got to the point in the Philippines when I was training. I mean, I can snatch deadlift 170, nice. Right? Yeah. So like, I mean, it's not really gonna help me to get any much stronger in my snatch. So I mean, I have the ability now to not be fatigued.
Yeah.
Because what do I need? Like a 100 or plus 100, something around there, right? I think I'm fine if I take it slow. Yeah. I don't have to go crazy.
Right. And that's the challenge, is that first pull off the ground is the most loaded position, right? In your back and in your legs. You feel the weight. You feel how heavy it is. And so the instinct for us is, because it feels heavy, is to start moving fast,
or
right?
Try harder.
Yeah. But that works against you, because if you start moving too fast, then it starts pulling the bar out of position, and like I said, it starts either looping out around the knees, or we don't get the bar quite back all the way into the hips. And so it's if you don't have that smooth first pull off the ground, it just kind of like sets you up for, I don't know, a lot of grief on the back end of the lift.
Yeah, generally it's going to be away from you.
Yeah.
It's going to create some sort of space.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, think about how this is the example that I use with all our newer lifters, especially when it comes to tempo and rhythm in the lift, right? First pull is slow and smooth. Once we pass the knees, it starts to accelerate, and then into the hips, boom. That's our explosive kind of power delivery. But if you think about, and for most people that have lifted before, they have some exposure to some like max deadlift or a heavy deadlift at least, right? And so I always ask them, you've done a max deadlift before, right? How quickly or how slowly does it move off the floor, right? Usually very slow. But what weightlifters do is they aren't bothered by the fact that the bar is moving slow, and they hold their position until the bar gets to the knees, because as soon as the bar gets to the knees, now we know we can start to step on the gas and really apply the speed and power into the bar. And so it doesn't matter how slowly the bar is moving off the floor if you can just hold the position. Shoulders over the bar, weight in the middle of the foot, so that we can maintain the position over the bar.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, blocks is helping me so much, staying over.
Yeah, blocks are a really helpful tool. I wish we could do it kind of more as a full team training tool. You know, we only have one big set of blocks here. Well, I guess two. We have kind of that shorter set of blocks. But it's something we can't really program team-wide just because of the access to equipment. But man, blocks can be really helpful because it really helps you isolate certain phases of the lift and how certain phases of the lift should feel. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think it's a really helpful tool.
Yeah. Well, I heard Billy say the other day. He was like, if I could start everyone off on blocks and put in the programming and it was feasible, I would do it. So I'm like, wait a second. Oh, maybe I should just do that.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of folks in our gym kind of using the blocks more and more. And I like that because it's, I don't know, especially stuff above the knee, you know, like that mid-hang position or knee position. Blocks from that position force you to accelerate. There's no choice but to accelerate. So if you're trying to work on being fast, being explosive, going from the blocks is a really, really helpful tool.
Have you had a training session on the blocks?
Not a full cycle, no, not since I've been here. I used to work out the blocks a lot.
Well, it's annoying to set up.
It is annoying to set up.
That's like the big thing, right? I mean, people would use it more if it wasn't. People
totally.
would do more jerks off the blocks. If it wasn't so annoying to set up.
Actually, I'm really glad in this last comp prep I did one of our heavy jerk days off the blocks, and I'm so glad I did because then I kind of got to feel the weight that I would be, you know, doing in competition. I got to feel that and how it felt to move through it without the pain of having to re-rack. Although
I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, you could get the guys to do it.
Oh, to move the blocks? Well,
I mean, to clean it up for you, bar, if you're going to go out
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. But I think also I do want to tout the benefit of learning to re-rack properly.
Oh,
you know
that's a huge one.
I mean, I think there's a lot of strength that can be gained by...
I almost killed myself the other day.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Wait, a strength that can be gained?
Yeah. Well, I think you can gain a lot of strength by re-racking, by learning how to re-rack properly.
I'm going to show you a video, but keep talking.
Oh my god. Did you almost die? Did it pull you down into a squat or something?
Nah.
There's definitely some re-racks that I see people do where you could just hear the bar just crashing.
So, you know, this is my variation of working on the things.
Okay.
So, obviously, I have to... I'll put this in the video.
Okay.
But, guys, I basically almost died. Cleaning jerking. Or trying to re-rack the bar.
Oh, no.
That's a good jerk,
Yeah,
right?
that's a good jerk.
That's a good jerk.
Oh! Oh, my God.
Dude,
Man.
that bar is good. Because I was like, I bent another bar.
Did you bend it?
No. It was great. Like, the bar that I got in the Philippines was garbage. It got bent, like...
Sure.
I don't know, X amount of months in, but like this, I mean... I'm gonna put it in. I didn't want to show that to anyone, but because I brought it up.
Oh my gosh! Now
but
everybody
but
gets
it spins
to see
great. I mean, it didn't bend because I think it's a slightly bigger diameter in the sleeve.
Is it a bearing bar?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's one of those rogue ones. But,
sure. Cool. Well, yeah, that's a scary re-rack. The behind the neck. I feel like I don't really rack behind the neck unless we have behind the neck stuff like, you know, push presses or jerks or whatever. And I feel like I don't... Here's the limit that I put on myself. I feel like I'm too far gone. I'm too far past learning to re-rack behind the neck. You know what I mean? I've just been re-racking in the front for so long that I just feel like it's too late for me now.
Number's good.
I know. I mean, I would like to get better at re-racking behind the neck because it is, I think, less taxing than in the front.
But what if we have behind the neck jerks program? How do you work through that?
I mean, it's scary for sure.
Oh,
well,
so
first of all,
do it, but then...
first of all, I'm shitty at behind the neck jerks, so I don't really even get that heavy with them compared to how much I can jerk from the front. So I think on that front, the re-rack is not really the issue, as more of the actual jerk behind the neck. You know what I mean?
I think behind the neck jerks are so much more beneficial.
Oh, I 100% agree with you. I just have like a weird mental block.
You're deaf,
it's scary,
but nothing matters, though.
But I don't want that bar crashing on my neck.
I know. You know, I didn't even warm that up. Like that was actually my last rep.
Oh my
gosh!
gosh!
Let me just put it on my neck, and then I was kind of sweaty.
Oh yeah, that's what does it.
Lord.
Yeah.
And I didn't warm it up. I just like, I'm good at this. I didn't give it its respect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, the good thing about knowing that I'm not good at behind the neck jerks is at least that highlights a weakness, a technical weakness for me. I know where it is because I know I'm not good at behind the neck jerks.
As a coach, do you ever look like if you fuck up, and then you're like, oh wait, my athletes saw me fuck up. I look like an idiot. Do you ever think that?
No.
Okay, I don't think that either.
Because most usually I'm in the context of training with the team, and so they know that I'm an athlete too, and, you know, I don't claim to be the best lifter. I'm actually a very mediocre lifter, I think.
I think you're one of the most technical lifters in the gym.
Aw, that's nice.
Who's the best snatcher? Are we going to go Cindy? I think Cindy's a good
Cindy
answer.
has like the best bar path.
And she's so patient.
Mm-hmm.
She says no extra anything on that. It's just what it's supposed to be.
For sure. And like the turnover of her arms is just so like sharp.
Yeah.
Who's as good a snatcher as Cindy?
Jessica's really good.
Yes, Jessica Weiss is a very good snatcher, for sure.
Who else?
Billy? Does he count?
He does count.
Yeah.
You know, I really think that Billy and John are like kind of carbon copies of each other as far as their lifting
style.
I even think that John is obviously Billy's the older one.
Yeah.
So I think Billy has made a big impression on John.
Sure.
And I feel that a lot of even John's thoughts are so very similar.
For sure.
To
I
Billy.
mean, like because he started lifting here when he was still a teenager, right? So those are formative years for a young person, and so to have a coach that has, been there and been a part of his journey in weightlifting and the progression of his technique and even him as a person, of course that's going to have some impact. Absolutely. That athlete coach relationship, I think I'm starting to understand that a little bit more. I mean, I did sports growing up. I did martial arts and gymnastics and ice skating, but I just don't really quite remember. I don't really quite remember having a coach that I had like formed a relationship with or like a rapport with as a young person. And so now as a coach, I can see how that relationship happens, with a coach and an athlete.
Yeah. Just
that mutual trust in each other and like respect and
Can I talk shit for a second?
Yeah.
It's about to get spicy.
Okay.
I can't. So that bond and that relationship is so important because if you come here, then you do essentially, especially if you had a couple training cycles, you do create a bond and a relationship with a coach.
Sure.
His thoughts and his opinions do bleed over a little bit. It's mainly through training because that's what we're doing, right? So it just like it irritates me so much whenever a person leaves on bad terms here.
Oh,
because even like if I couldn't be here, I would explain to Billy the reasons that I can't be here.
Right.
How hard is that?
Yeah. You would hope that someone would have a conversation about it, at least to like the mutual respect for one another to have that conversation. Just not everyone.
No, but I love everyone.
Yeah,
everyone's great.
Yeah, everyone here is great.
It's so great.
Yeah, it's a good environment for sure. I mean, we have a national team championship.
That is crazy. We didn't even talk about that.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that. We are the 2024 Masters National Team Champions. So there's a scoring system, a point scoring system. I don't know how it works. I guess maybe we should look it up.
If you're the best, you don't have to know how it works. You're just number one.
It probably has something to do with the competitiveness of each athlete within their category, age and weight class. And
sounds like you know how it works.
I don't know how it works. All I know is that we had the most number of points. But I think because we had a lot of athletes, and we had a lot of athletes that won medals.
It's incredible. Like, that was so cool to see.
Yeah. So I think that's why we ended up.
Did you win a medal?
No, I didn't.
Did you feel left out?
That is
for
my
real.
goal.
Did you feel left out?
What's funny?
There's other people that can get medals.
Sure, yeah. What's funny is I wasn't motivated. I knew going in, I mean, looking at the entry list and seeing the entry totals, there's no way that I was going to get a medal. No way.
I disagree.
I know, like you talk about showing up there on the day and some people just, what happens if someone bombs out, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, assuming that everyone had an okay day, there was still no chance that I could get a medal. And so for me, the motivation was, do the best that I can or whatever. But that being said, now that I've had arguably the best meet of my life, now I'm like, oh, if I could do that, what else can I do? And so I think, I'm going to age into the next category next year. So it'll be in the...
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so have you looked into the numbers for that?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the weight class, what weight class I choose next year, so...
Oh, there's a lot to look into. Huh?
Yeah,
wow,
so
options.
I think it would be cool to win a medal next year, so...
I really don't think it's who's the most talented or whatever. I think it's who stays in the longest and who shows up.
Yeah, for sure. And just seeing the progress I made in terms of this last comp prep cycle, physically, just my ability to lift the weights, and then also mentally my ability to believe that I can lift the weights. I think that progress has made me excited to see where it goes and to see where it takes me and to see how much, you know, I can achieve in the next year even.
So do you believe in a ceiling then? Because if you're healthy, you mentally are there, and I mean, you had your best performance ever. Yeah. Is there a reason to believe that you can't do more?
I don't know, man. I used to think there was a ceiling. I thought.
Don't touch me, please.
Sorry.
Not on the couch. Yeah. You used to think there was a ceiling.
I thought that I was never going to snatch 65 ever again. I thought that. But, like, you know, in cycles previous. And it was this comp prep cycle, and, like, the combination of that with changing my mindset that, one, made me, like, allowed me to snatch 65 in training and also in competition. But also now changes my mind on whether or not there's a cap. Because I'm a better lifter now. I have more time dedicated to lifting now. I mean, yeah, my body is like older, physically older, but I don't feel like that's hindering me in any way. So now I'm just like, I don't know that I've reached a cap yet. And for those folks that don't know, I'm 38, be turning 39 this November, and so starting next January I'll age into the 40 category, so it's 40 to 44.
Did you see that ice skater that won gold at the Worlds or something? She's the oldest, 40.
Oh wow,
she looks great.
That's cool.
I think my facts might be wrong, but something to the effect of that, right? And then she was like, "Oh, we need a statement or something," and she smiled in the camera and she said, 40's the new 20.
Nice.
I was like, awesome. That's so cool.
Well, I mean, Solfrid from Norway. She's from Norway. The lifter, 87 kilo lifter, 81, 87. She just started, she's just kind of fairly new in the sport of weightlifting. I believe she came from other power sports, but she's 38 and she's maybe on the verge of a world record for I think like maybe in either the World Cup or the Olympics, whatever she's competing at next. I think she, it's definitely in the realm of possibility for her to break a record. So, I mean, at 38 years old and, still strong and competitive. There's also, I remember seeing it's this gymnast, I can't remember what country she's from, but her only event is the vault, but she's 48 and
That's
still
crazy.
She's been to like 6 Olympics or something crazy like that, but she's still like competitive. I mean, I think she's maybe kind of reaching the top end, but still like 48 years old, so I think there are outliers there, and what I want to try and tell myself is that it's not I mean, I'm sure they're special in some way, right? Maybe physically or like genetically gifted in some way of being able to stay healthy throughout all of this, intense training or whatever. But I want to believe that it's not impossible for someone like me to do something like that, that it is possible even if I'm not, don't have the same genetic components or whatever that makes someone like that. I don't know.
No, I mean, it makes sense that there's a genetic limit.
Yeah.
For like whatever your muscle composition is or whatever, and then like, at a certain weight class there's no chance that you could get da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, just because that makes sense doesn't mean that I can't believe that I can't snatch 70 and then hit 65 on the platform.
Right.
I mean, people like Billy really. I mean, there's some older people that get in the sport and I'm PRing, but like they might not have the best technique. But when I see like someone like Billy, that has actually, he's elite in my eyes, And he's still progressing. I'm like,
Yeah.
dang, I could do this forever if I wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. Sky's the limit.
Yeah. So gay.
I didn't say that.
What's up? What else?
There
was something I really wanted to say. You said you're long-winded.
Me? I am long-winded. That's why this is gonna be a really long podcast.
I need to write notes whenever you say something.
Do I talk too much?
No, you don't talk too much, but you have so many great points.
Oh, thanks.
That it's just like hard to remember like every little piece.
I mean, it's stuff that I think about. I mean, obviously this is my job, but it's stuff I think about and come across every single day.
Okay, goals.
Yeah.
So you were talking about goals and what's possible, what can be achieved. For me, I'm gonna be honest. My minimum goal is I want to win a national event.
Yeah.
Goal. Just straight out.
Yeah.
I do have aspirations above that.
Yeah.
And if I were to hit that, even better.
Yeah.
But I really don't want to give up on this unless I can hit that.
Yeah.
So what's possible? Tell me what your goal is.
Oh, my goal.
Why is it unrealistic to medal? You talked about it already.
For me or for you?
For you.
I think it's realistic for me to medal.
Okay. So do you have goals above that?
In weightlifting?
I think goal setting is so important. And being unrealistic with it.
Yeah.
To the point where people might laugh at you.
Oh, sure. Like weights that I want to lift.
You don't have to say the numbers, but
yeah.
I mean, like, you want a medal?
Oh, I definitely want a medal. Yeah. I didn't think that I wanted to medal. I didn't think that mattered to me until this last meet, which is really interesting. Because
is it because everyone else did?
That, and also because of my performance and what I lifted compared to what I thought I could lift. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, man. I can't speak enough about that.
Because this meet went like almost perfectly for me. And so just having something like that, like the confidence that gives me, that definitely makes me hungry for more, for sure. And so I think before this meet, I would have not had any aspirations of medaling, because I think maybe in the back of my head I had already resigned myself to, well, I'm not at the level where I can win a medal, you know. But now knowing what I'm capable of from this meet, I definitely think that's possible for me. And especially because I'm aging into like older categories too, I think that makes it, I mean, I don't want to say it makes it easier, because there's definitely some beasts out there that are kind of continuing to age into the higher categories. But I do believe that is possible. And I believe that you can win gold at nationals.
It would be more helpful to me if you told me that I couldn't.
Yeah.
I actually already have a list of people that don't believe
that
me.
you lift like shit and that you'll never win a medal.
Perfect. You're on my list.
Okay.
All right.
Now we know what motivates you.
Yeah, I am deeply motivated by shit talking. It's like my second language.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I think it's good to have like someone like me around.
For sure. It definitely keeps it fun.
Yeah.
And I do see how it lights a fire under everyone. I noticed that. Yeah, absolutely. Because you were gone in the Philippines for 6 months, and I think there was just, or however many months, I think there was just a little bit of fire that was kind of like not there, you know. I mean, everyone here is still great. We still love and support each other, and Heavy Fridays are still fun and a good atmosphere, and we still have a great team. But I think there's just a little bit of fire that was like maybe a little bit lost while you were away. You know, that now I feel is like back now that you're here.
You think so?
Yeah.
Like
you're an instigator is why.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
And so I think there's a challenge of like
But I don't really instigate like. So, I think someone like, who's openly talking like me? Because I'll openly talk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, Chris, you kind of suck. You know, and I'll talk. The bigger guys, I want to lift with the bigger guys. Yeah. So, you know, I do that. But I wish some of the girls do talk. But I wish that was more open.
Yeah.
Like,
what's
you
interesting,
shit.
We did that actually. It wasn't really shit talking, but in this last comp prep, it was me and Vanessa and my friend Erica, and we all kind of lift around the same numbers.
Yeah.
Erica's way stronger than the both of us, like
Yeah.
super strong, but still kind of new in the sport of weightlifting. So we were all kind of like lifting together. And there was one Friday where I've never really done this with anyone, but there was one Friday because we were all sharing a platform where Billy's like, well, you guys have to match each other's numbers now. You have to see who gets the best number. And then it was just like this light bulb that went off that I was like, oh my gosh, now I get to compete with someone. And like, it motivated me. Like, it made me want to snatch more because I had to, I had to have the top number of that platform. And same thing with the clean and jerk. And so I think in that respect, it was good. Like, that healthy competition was good for me, and it pushed me in a way that I probably wouldn't have done if I was lifting on my own.
There's 100% something to training partners and being competitive with each other.
Absolutely.
So I if this gym was, and I'd like to think that I bring some of that. If this gym was just a bunch of fucking people, and then like, you can go ahead and do. There's some people that I wish that, like, man, you
need some fire. You need,
if you had
a little
this,
bit of
I mean, but then I'm starting to realize that some of some people do have it, but it's just shown in other ways.
Interesting.
Like, they'll post a video later that's a kilo heavier. It's that's interesting. That's a weird number.
That's a weird kilo choice.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think we talked about the importance of having a life coach, but having training partners, oh man.
I think that's worth, like, that's, if we were talking about like what is like worth the cost of this gym, it would, I don't know, it's what gets the people coming back. There's some people that probably wouldn't be here if the other people weren't here.
Yeah, to have training partners that push you, I mean, like I said, the environment for our team at Masters Nationals, people who support you and want to see you do well, but also are willing to push you in areas that you need to be pushed. I mean, that's so invaluable. I mean, you have this experience too, but I also, in my lifetime of lifting, have had periods where I've trained by myself, and it's just, I don't know.
I think it's important to do that too.
Yeah?
I think there is an importance to, like, being able to lift by yourself and achieve the same results, because there is something to having people around, higher energy, and you do lift better. But if you're one of those garage gym lifters and you're able to, like, it's just harder. It's just
to bring the energy within yourself. I think that's really important.
For me, I've noticed that if I'm lifting good in the garage, I'm lifting really good here.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think that's also another important thing to be a good athlete, is to not be dependent. We talked about athletes who are particular. You also have to not be dependent on outside factors to be able to bring the energy. You know what I mean? Like athletes who are like, oh, I need to listen to my music. I need to have this certain song on while I'm lifting. Or, I need the energy of other people. Or
no, you're the one talking.
I know, yeah. or people who are like, oh, I need the energy of other people. It's like, again, you have to be prepared for any scenario,
What do you think about lifters that... Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. What do you think about lifters that try to get the crowd going?
That's you. That's you.
Give me some!
You're such a showman.
Yeah.
I mean, I think maybe...
Did anyone do that at Masters?
No. Oh, well, I think there was a guy...
Dude, it's the funniest thing. It's like, let's go! It's so corny, but when they get going...
a guy that did a roundhouse kick after every made lift, but I didn't see it in person. I think I heard about it. Only because I think the only scenario I've seen that is you, and because I know you, I think it's funny. Maybe if I didn't know you, I would think it's annoying.
It's so corny, dude. Yeah. It's the corniest thing, but it's just like, I don't know. I think I think it should be fun doing these meets.
For sure, yeah.
And it's just like, if you can laugh at yourself and do something like dumb,
I think you
it's
might
great.
only like it if it's like the old, kind of like old Steffi, weightlifting etiquette kind of folks that might find it offensive or something.
I know there's people that hate me for that. Just for me being me the way I am.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think
fucking love it. Yeah.
As long as you don't care.
Rent free, baby.
Yeah, as long as you don't care what people think about you.
No, I do care, but just not about them.
Yeah.
What's up? You have anything else?
No.
This is a good one.
This is a good one.
I would high five you or something, but let's do a fist bump.
Fist bump.
Because my hands are all clammy for some reason.
Weird.
You make me all
Nervous?
nervous. All right, thanks guys.
Thanks.